of you want to do things right, to keep up with keeping your lives tight, tight as in being right with the truth of true insight? Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need, to be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads? Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown, to worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne?
And even the thought of you getting yourself together is an illusion.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it's an illusion to you having power. For real. Yourself. Independent of the originator of and sustainer of your being.
Right.
How you gonna get yourself together? The Lord says something to me very sweet, very beautiful. It says, I give you power. And the power that you have, the greatest power that you have, is the purity of your heart and that which comes off your tongue that's in accordance with what's in your heart. So your strength is in begging me sincerely to guide you aright, to protect you, to give you of my attributes. Huh? To let you know not to ask for the goods of this world, but to ask for the good, which is it, of both worlds.
And Allah makes things so clear. You know, if you reflect on what Allah said in Quran, Allah said, be of those who believe as you believe. If you find yourself in company with certain individuals, know you believe as they believe.
Oh yeah.
You know, Allah said, be with those who believe as you believe, so that you will be reminded of it.
I know where you going. You going where that self-deceit thing is. Because you think you be deceiving yourself to think that you not like them, and you keep on being inclined to them. And every time you look around, you hanging out with them, not realizing that you like them.
And that's where Allah go back in Quran. You know, Allah is so beautiful. It go back, and that's why I say, if you open that Quran for you, then you get something from it. When Allah go back in that Quran and say that when you with the believer, you know, you say you believe, but when you with the others, you know, with your ringlings, that I was just justing. Oh, yes you do. You know, just like people in our community, even if we break down ourselves. You know, if I'm going to start with the community. If you break down the community, be with us, la 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 la, then you find someone that they know on the other side of the track, and you find out, yes, they was just
all them things that they do away from our circle. All those things that they do against the code of truth, against the code of the Christ, against the code of Allah. All those things that they do outright with all these other people in the world that they think is never going to come back to you. A light of truth is not going to be shining on them about that double life that they live in. You know what I mean? But think about this here. They not only hurt themselves, they hurt people who be of that other company that they could help.
Yeah.
They further hurt them.
Right. And then, you know, if you look inside of yourself and listen to all that's going on with yourself, you'll hear your ringleaders in there too. You know? That you ignore because you done got comfortable with them. You know? So it gets deeper than that. But one thing about that double life thing, man, is something, because see, you think that we think that this mind here is the power. And you think that you could turn on and turn off the way you want. You don't know how much garbage you bring with you when you come back and be among the believers, be around your children or the company of other people's children. That pus, that infection in you spreads.
Spiritual pus.
It spreads.
Spiritual infection.
I'm serious. It spreads even if you don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? And then later on you look at your children and you look at different things that happen. You say, how did I get here? That's because you didn't follow that which Aisha sent down.
Right, you took
know?
small steps at a time, which got you a great distance away. It's just like you got a long journey to go, and if you look at the end of that journey, you get tired as heck just thinking about how far you got to go. But if you put your head down and get to the grind and just take a step at a time, before you know it, you at the journey's end. You look back and you say, wow, I came that far. But that's the way people need to be when they deal with what's going on in their life. They need to see how far they got to go or how far they have come. You understand? So they could get out of that illusion about them, what they doing, you know. But Allah says something so sweet going back in the Holy Quran about that, about what you talking about, where it says they would seek to deceive Allah and the believers when they only deceive themselves. I would like to say Allah and the faithful, but they only deceive themselves. And you got so many people hurting themselves because they run around here trying to deceive, you. Like, I remember a story a guy told that I read about where there was this court of, this king was dying, a prince or, whatever. He was a ruler of a land and he was dying. And it was the type of kingdom where you appoint a king or a shah or whatever, And he had a court of a bunch of dignitaries up in there, and he was going to choose who was to rule, And a young man, a young boy happened to come along while they was in the court, coming through the courtyard. I think it was a servant. It was a servant, and one of the royal people, dignitaries had said something to him about get away, talked real harsh to him, and I think he was doing the garden, cleaning up or whatever. And the king told him, no, come in. We're having a contest, And he said, whoever can go, gave them all jewels, stones. So whoever can hide this stone, their stone, where it cannot be found by anyone, that's the one that I'm going to choose to rule my kingdom. Because he couldn't make up his mind which one of those people he would get the king. And his death was imminent. So they all went out and went to their most secret places to hide their stones. And they all came back one at a time. And they waited, and the young boy didn't come back. And they waited overnight. The next day, the boy didn't come back. And they were getting restless. This boy was gone for like 3 or 4 days. And they was restless, and they was pushing the king. Let's do this thing. This kid ain't coming back. He might be devoured, killed, whatever. He ain't coming back. Finally, after a week, the young boy came in, with his head hanging down. So the king said, here he come. Okay. They sat down and told everybody told where they hid their rock. Got to the little boy and they said, where'd you hide your rock? He told the king, he apologized. He said, I searched everywhere that I could possibly search, and no matter where I went, my stone could be found by Allah. He said, everywhere I went, Allah was there. And he said, that's my next ruler. That's the ruler of this kingdom. See, they had all forgot about Allah. They all hid their stones from men. And see, the mistake that people make is that they try to hide from men their evil doings. When the one to hide from is the one that will judge you and give you your reward, whether it's harsh or sweet. And that's Allah. And you can't hide from him. You can't hide from the Lord, the originator.
And the other thing about this double life is, if you're not sincere, then you're going to always if you're not sincere and trying to follow Allah's guidance, you're going to always make excuses why you partaking with people that don't believe as you believe. First thing you have to establish is, how do you believe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, that's where that tongue and that heart ain't in order. You know, once you establish how you believe, then you know what kind of company you're going to keep.
Tell
You know?
me this here.
Wait, hold that thought.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask you a question, but go ahead.
The other thing, the other thing is, you know, we think that love is with us having love for people rank so high, but it don't rank up there with A.H.A.D.
I think people use that love many times as a blinder. Oh, I love you, to blind you from their ill,
Right.
cover it up. See, I love you. You know.
And I had, and believe you me, I had to learn a lot, you know, and I had to put things in perspective. I had to choose A.H.A.D over that love. You understand? Because, see, A.H.A.D give you the love for people. Then A.H.A.D try you with that and say, okay, I've given you that love for that child. I've given you that love for your parents. I've given you love for many. Now, how much do you love me? You understand?
Yeah, it gives you the love as a child.
And I'm telling you, to turn from that which A.H.A.D has given you as a blessing and a curse, to turn to A.H.A.D is a trial. But you have to keep turning all the time. Because see, loving your parents, and you know they ain't right with A.H.A.D. You know that they would take you away from A.H.A.D if you gave them a crack to a door. And other people as well. You got to say, okay, which one is the best way to go? And you have to choose the best way. Some people act order to, that act result is the thing that caused them to lose. You understand? People don't like to be real, don't like to be true to themselves.
And that act is that double life.
And then that act is what keeps you in that wrong. You understand what I'm saying? You can't act the thing out. You got to really make a choice. And then once you make that choice, you got to put forth every effort.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the word act. You mean pretend.
Pretend.
You know? It's important that they know, because we gotta act everything out.
Right.
That's part of our character.
But
you
that
know,
pretend.
but to pretend, yeah, and we know a lot of people that pretend. But what I was gonna ask you is, how do you determine what your faith is gonna be? But I'm not asking you that now. I'm just gonna run it. You have to have A.H.A.D to determine what your faith is gonna be, what that course is gonna be. That's why the power of the tongue and the heart working together, you know, to unite with the soul. You feel me? So you understand the conscience, the calling of your soul, you know? But most people, if they put man first, like the little boy would not put man first, who was taking that stone out. He said, no matter where I went, Allah was there. And I knew that I couldn't find no place where Allah was not.
Right.
So my stone would be found. He didn't X Allah out as though Allah was invaluable or null and void. He made it where Allah was just as important, if not more important, than the people. He said, I can find a place where no man can find it, but the Lord can find it. The Lord can see it. Then I just return it back to you. I'm not worthy of your kingdom.
One of the things,
but he was most worthy.
Yeah. I used to say something, the realization that people, or whatever way of life they are, don't appreciate either sitting down of itself coming down, and they don't put Allah first, so they can never make everything of an importance other than themselves, because the Lord, they don't rationalize being present at all places at all times. It's always saying it was always that. That's why Muslims can make that face lie about you going to the bathroom and hide, Allah don't see you. They can take those type of concept thinking and say,
how could you even ever fall for that trick?
This is what I'm saying.
You know?
That's a great blessing of, I say, of this day, the messenger of this day, Lord Holy Apostle, talking in the language that people understand this thing.
Right.
You know, that clarification is just how vital it is to establish to get involved, to seek a relationship, to seek.
Well, you know, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion. You know, Allah sending me and raising me to speak in the language of the people is a mercy, is a sign of mercy. But either Allah had already made it clear.
Right.
Sure did.
For the ages of time, it's been eons and ages of time. It was clear.
It was clear.
You know, and this is a thought that really like sticks in my head that I revisit all the time. Before I was fully aware that Allah could see me, I was told that Allah will never fail me, but everything else would fail me.
Mm-hmm.
In that, going to language too, in that I had to look at everything else. And I've seen how everything else have failed numerous of times. You know, my parents and my loved ones, I've seen that. So where I've never seen Allah fail me, I've seen the failures crystal clear from other people, and I've seen my failures. You know, and one thing about language too, parents, you know, parents wants to be the most important people in their children's lives. Parents steal from Allah. You know, I'm very careful.
Let's say parents in general, for the most part.
But for the most part, whether it's conscious or unconscious, parents want their kids to love them the most.
And that's wrong.
And with my own children, I even, if I say something to them, I'll go back and I'll say it again, or I'll rethink it and I'll come back to them again, because you have to make them understand that you are totally dependent upon Allah. No matter how much we love them, we can't save them from whatever Allah gonna put on them. And we shouldn't give them the illusion that we can save them. And that's the problem with a lot of children. They are given that illusion. And that's why they go out and they do all kinds of things, because they think that with mommy and daddy it's going to be okay. It's going to be forgiven. You know, with mommy and daddy, they'll make it right and what have you. So we start them all on the path of losing at the beginning, because we don't make them recognize that they was only given to us as a gift and a trap.
I don't know about a gift.
But they know the language of error.
Mothers love to say the children was given to them as a gift. But I'm a firm believer that when a child is born, and I remember this is an old saying, if you're going to weep or rejoice, you better weep when they born and rejoice when they pass on, because when they born, you don't know what you bring into this world. I have lived to bear witness to that. You know what I mean? But I've had two situations, man, where, and I believe a child is a trial for you. Just like a wife or a husband is a trial for you. You know, everything I either give you is a trial for you. You know, but now I've had two situations. I had a wife in the past who had two children of mine, my oldest sets, and who worked or combated, challenged Allah for me, trying to turn me to her away from Allah. And that was deep to me, because I was like that little boy. No matter where I go, Allah is there. Then I had children. Not just that set, but the set before that. So people, you getting a little insight on my life, right? But I remember my second oldest daughter told me, when she was about 13 years old, 14 years old, she said, Daddy, and all four of my children were standing there, she said, Daddy, who do you love the most? Because they were talking to their mothers. And I'm not with their mothers, because their mothers refused to be of Allah. Forget about being of Islam. I ain't never played that. Because you got many kinds of Islams. In the ghetto, we used to say His Islam. Because just like his story, You know, Islam, everybody worshiping different, worshiping in their own mind, their own way.
Right.
But they did not want to be of Allah, so I could not be of them. You know, I didn't want to get caught up in that old Christian condemnation. You married her, you got to stay with her.
Yeah.
You know, because the Lord don't like divorce and you go to hell for divorce. That's a lie. The Lord gives us a way out. Huh? It frowns on divorce, but why would you stay with someone who is constantly worshiping the devil outright? Huh? And try to bring you to the devil when you try to get to your Lord. Lord won't appreciate you for that foolishness. That's like the guy who was in the water and was drowning and saying, Lord, save me.
Right.
You know, I'm drowning in my marriage. I'm like, Lord, say, get out the marriage. And keep traveling to me till I give you the right one. And my children came to me and my daughter actually said, Daddy, who you love the most? Us or Allah? And I looked at him and I said, Allah. She said, wait, who you love the most? Allah or me? I said, Allah. And before I could start to explain, she started crying. It's like their mothers had set them up. Yo, he loved Allah more than he loved Yah. You know, like Allah wasn't worthy of being loved the most. So then I had to sit them back and explain to them, first of all, you love me? Yes. Do you know who's responsible for you loving me? No, Allah. You're not responsible for that. Do you know who's responsible for me loving you? Allah. Do you know who's responsible for you being here and me being here? Allah. You know, I wanted to explain everything to them, man. And because they was teary-eyed like that until I finished. But the thing that I always did, no matter what the situation was with my children and my wives, I always came in the name of Allah and I always left in the name of Allah. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the way a lot of people come and with the name of Allah in their mind. Right. You know, and the illusion of coming in the name of Allah. I came with the word of Allah on my tongue and left with the word of Allah on my tongue. And let them know that Allah is more worthy of worship and praise and adoration and everything. And that it is the owner of everything, even myself. Huh? And I gave that to my children and let them know this is my legacy. This is the way you should see me. This is the way it's going to be. And I'm not going to change. I've been through the fire. Watch me. You know? And my daughter said, Daddy, I always thought that I was ready to die for you. But see now, some 20 years later, it ain't that way. You know, some 30 years later, it ain't that way. They understand. Now, what if I would have told her, oh, I love you more than I love Allah, you my baby. Allah might have took her away or took me away. Huh? Allah said, I will try you with those things that you love or hold as equal to me.
Right. Try you by the word that you
come
out your mouth.
You out there, I love you. Like Smokey said, women are to be worshipped. And as soon as he said that, he caught hell from his wife, and they became divorced, and he suffered, and I think it took him so many years to get over that. How you gonna stand in the face of the Lord Most High that says, I created you to worship me, and you say women are to be worshipped? Allah smacked Smokey's behind with his wife. You need to think about that.
Well, that's again part of that error that A.H.A.D is explaining about now.
So true.
That
you sound like you had some kind of experience in this. All right, people, so this is his chance.
Oh, you gonna finally get it?
All right, let's hear your revelation. Let's hear your revelation, brother.
So many. You know, just the truth. I'm sure many people out there in this television world can identify just as I can identify many others. You know how.
What are you saying, man? He go with this double language. He can't say I worship my wife and I was suckered and I got beat with it. Look at him. Stuff him. Let's stuff him like a shot animal.
I don't think I worshipped her. I got beat with her for other reasons, probably not. But I know I worship my mother. and you know, and thinking the intent of my family, or whether I reflect on how Holy Queen Mother was sharing it, and how the love of a family, you know, or what they think is love, what they're giving as love, will lead a child into this area to ask
How old were
you the
you when
question.
you worshipped your mother? How old were you when you realized you was worshiping, when you stopped? Did you ever stop?
As an adult. Did I ever stop? Did I ever
stop worshiping her? You made it all the way to adulthood?
Sure. Yes.
Oh, I see. I worshipped my brother, and I stopped when I was about 8. He stopped me. He said, "Oh no, you don't worship me." He said, "No, never wish you was me. If anything, I wish I was you." Because he knew about the revelation of Allah and what I was to become. But he said, "You never worship a man." You know. But see, you could worship something and don't even realize you worship it.
Exactly. And family, they'll teach you religion. They'll teach you about Allah, but they're not gonna grip like the distinction you make with your daughter. The clear distinction coming from your mother. I've shared a situation with my sister that actually was more of a clearer distinction to me in teaching than what my mother ever showed, other than just the manifestation of her love or her care for me, which you give due praise to A.H.A.D for from time to time in your life, but still not making that clear separation. Thank A.H.A.D for her, and that was till after I was adult to recognize that was, oh Allah.
Well, you know, my life was sped up from the average life. And by me worshiping Allah and depending upon Allah, Allah made it possible for me, or made it for me, as to where I can make distinctions about my mother. See, most people can't make distinctions about their parents. I was able to make distinctions about my mother, and I would not trade my mother for any woman in the world. I know Allah did not make a mistake with giving me the mother I had, bringing me through the mother I had. I have no complaints about that. Was my mother perfect? She was a perfect mother for me.
Right.
Because the perfect gave her to me.
Right.
Was she right in all things? Hell no. She made a lot of errors, a lot of human errors. Did I ever suffer by her errors? Yes, I did. Did I feel slighted by her? Yes, I did. Did I feel loved by her? Yes, I did. Did I feel protected by her? Yes, I did. Did I feel like I was left out there to be had by other situations because of her? Yes, I did. See, we had it on both sides. My mother had positive and negative, but she had love. And a lot of the negative that she had, that I suffered by, much of it, I could say most of it, if not all of it, was unintentional. But because of her being led in error, she did things that normal things. But because my Lord favored me, it made me able to distinguish and not get covered by the spirit of love. You follow me? And so I'm my mother. And one of the first things I can remember that really took me was I trusted my mother and my sisters because they were women. And to guide me in terms of the wife to get. And they just knew that my first wife wasn't right for me. Yes. And they were telling me my second wife was right and she was the best that I ever had. And turns out she was the worst I ever had. I ain't found nobody top her yet.
It was the one I used to bring you to it.
That was the one I used to use to bring me to it. She tortured me so bad that all I could do was turn to Allah. You know? But am I disgruntled about all that? No, because that's what made me what I am.
Right.
But see, the key that what I'm trying to make is that Allah made me be able to distinguish and not get confused in the worship of my mother.
Right.
You know?
Well, in the era that He's showing us now, man, He's blessed you now to come to His understanding that is given down. This has been an A.H.A.D moment. If you want to reach us at A.H.A.D Incorporated, Post Office Box 8795, Newark, New Jersey, 07103.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you